Maybe he thinks he needs to Emrakul me to win this. Which is fair. I mean, that might be what he's setting up for here. Unfortunately. Now, one way I can win is swing out. Well, what he would do is block with Sundering on the Kronos and then pop the stone. I don't think we're going to get there after all. Because if he has enough mana to Emrakul, it's really close. Like, the O-Stone... Shenanigans, you see. What is this, says Droop Lion. This is Restore Balance in Modern. How do I break through? I guess is what I'm wondering. Well, I don't think he can search up... Since he didn't grab the Eye of Ugin immediately as his land drop this turn, I don't think we're dead immediately. Like, we have a turn... And I don't think I bring in both... I don't think I sacrifice the Mesa to bring in the other Gargadon. Because if I do that, he just pops the stone. We saw Swamp. Okay. Ooh, Counterflux. That doesn't counter, obviously, an Emrakul, but... maybe we'll get to do something with it. This is interesting. It's an interesting board state. I'm just trying to think about the logistics here. I think he's just gonna block with the Sundering. I mean, he has to. He blocks with the Sundering Titan. Never seen such a weird game, says Alex. This is the Modern Tournament practice room. Yeah, that kills the Sundering Titan. Oh, I always forget that it wasn't correct to play the Swamp at all. I always forget about that part of the Sundering Titan. Unfortunately. Hell, I used to play that card myself, and I forgot something so important. Perhaps replace Ricochet with Riftwing? Yeah, I just noticed it, Red Arrow. Accidental turn 1 Modern win? What? Oh, Mirror Retriever. Yeah, I've messed around with those. Yeah, Heartless Summoning. Oh, it's a mill deck now with Alter the Brood. Interesting. That is new. No, you're right. I wasn't supposed to play the Swamp. I thoroughly regret it. It's too late now. Oh, you searched up an island. That's interesting. I thought he was going to grab Eye of Ugin. Impact Tremors and Porphyros. That is interesting. I think the Kronos is just going to get there, though, I hope. It's my hope. So what happens here is, unfortunately, the Gargadon couldn't have come down at a worse time. I mean, the thing about Suspend is your opponent also knows. If only I could remand my own Gargadon, right? It's not that simple. Can't really do anything about it. Gonna lose, like, everything except the Mesa that doesn't do anything. So we'll have to kill him with the Kronos burnout plan. Ooh, repeal. And I can't cast it. If only I had another red source, right? There was finally the turn for the ricochet trap. Okay. It needs some work, though. You guys can help me work around it. I think that the Johnny and the Chronos actually aren't necessary. But I don't like looking at other people's lists. Why didn't you float mana, says Oost. There's a lot of things we could have done differently. Alright, we're not going to brew with this deck anymore, but we're going to mess with that deck. Balance Modern, please. Ricochet does nothing, says Johnny. Change the target of a single spell with a single target. You could change... Oh, does it specific... Oh, it'd have to be the same size, wouldn't it? I'm just trying to think about it in the context of repeal. No, it's not misdirection, it's not that good. In the context of repeal, it doesn't say cost X or less, does it? No, it doesn't, because it says specifically converted mana cost X, Ajani. So, since there was no other 5 on the table, there's no... You can't... We couldn't... There wasn't another legal target for the repeal. There wasn't another legal target. So things I like, things I don't like. I think that the Shriek Maws and the Rift Bolts are a necessary evil. And the Dismember. If I owned more Dismembers, I'd be running them. Let's talk about cards I'm not sure about. And then we'll talk about cards I'm pretty sure about. I just don't own them, Mistress. Riftwing's okay. It's a little slow, is what I found, Mistress, whereas, like, Rift Bolt is pretty quick. You know, you can toast a lot of different creatures in the format. It does something. Shriek Maw, there's a lot of different creatures you can just terror in the format. Bouncing something... I mean, bouncing your own land is nice, but Gargadon does a better job, in my opinion. Also, if Riftwing comes into play before you're ready to restore balance, it's a creature. And that's kind of the same reason why I'm not running the slew of... I like the Fulminator Mage. Because it sacrifices itself the turn I'm trying to go off, especially if there's a well, there has to be a non-basic land in play, but there usually is one. So if I owned more Fulminators, I'd be more on this plan. Double red, or red-black isn't hard to do in this deck. Red, single black, you know, border posts. Oh, that's awkward. Where's the other border post? There should be one more Mistbane. Well, no wonder it wasn't working properly. Beast Within is cool, but that's a different color combination, Mistress. There are advantages to playing it this way. So let me get into it with you guys for a moment. You can argue that these are kind of like land drops, except you have to pay 1, but I just chunk them into the mana base. So if you think about it from a mana base perspective, I think the main deck Ricochet is ambitious. That's the first change I'm going to make. I think the counterfluxes just aren't very good. I got one. And maybe all of them. All of them. I'm not a huge fan of the counterfluxes. That looks more correct. Now, you may be sitting there like you don't have enough enablers for the Demonic Dread, and you're right, and that's something I've been looking into. These are all 3s. These are 2s. So it kind of curves awkwardly. I mean, you've got a whole lot of 3s, which is where the Riftwing is nice. I will give Riftwing Mistress 1 point, and that is the fact that it gives you more 2s in the deck. It gives you more 2s. I think Thirst is a fine dig spell, but we might not have room for it. You could also run Electrolyze. That's another fine cantrip. It sees 1 less card, though, than Thirst. Oh, I'm trying to think of alternatives. Another way you could build the deck is you could go 5-color. I know that sounds like a bad idea, but you could pull it off. And what you could do is you could, in order to increase consistency of the deck, you go 5-color, you'd run a different split of the border posts. I mean, the big advantages to black are definitely the Colligans, the Dismember, the Shriekmaw. If you wanted to go green, you get Beast Within, you get the other Cascade spell. The other Cascade spell is stronger. Demonic Dread does need a target. Unfortunately. I mean, if you cut black entirely, what do you lose? You lose the Shriekmaw, you lose the Dismember. But you gain a better Cascade spell. I don't know if that's worth it. I mean, the Shriekmaw has been really clutch for me. Just being able to Doomblade something buys you enough time to do what the deck is supposed to do. And the Rift Bolts. I would run the Rift Bolts. I mean, it's not living end. It's a very different deck. Just because it's a Cascade deck doesn't mean you might have some similar cards. You know, like the Fulminator. But at the end of the day, you don't really. I think the Colligan's command is actually really cute, though. As is the main deck Chronos and maybe even the Ajani. I mean, like the ways that we should be winning should be limited to. I mean, ways you can win with this deck is literally just the Gargadon beat down, or you beat them down with a Shriekmaw. I mean, maybe we have too much win con. Let's board some of that and we'll talk about it. I don't know if I need that much win condition. I really like the sideboard Chronos. I think we could easily cut these 3 pieces and just run a 1 sideboarded Chronos. It's another way to finish out games, but March of the Machines just gets the game done and over with much more quickly. So that frees us up for some slots. You could run something like the, let's see. I mean, I'd like some more creatures to target with the Demonic Dread that come down. I mean, Riftwing. The thing about Riftwing, guys, is Mistress is it's a little slow for modern. It is suspend 3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's suspend 3. So you turn 2 this bad boy, right? When does it come into play? Well, it's not going to come into play till turn 5, right? You suspend this on turn 2, then you have turn 3 comes around, turn 4, turn 5 it comes into play. That's just too slow. Yeah, that's just too slow. Yeah. Well, excuse me, of course it's 5. That's how the suspend cards are set up. Like, you know. Most of them are set up to be similar. When you would actually normally cast the spell. Except Rift Bolt's one of the exceptions. It actually comes down a turn faster than its mana cost states. And that's why I think it's a really nice engine, or not a nice early permission for the deck. I mean, it's no lightning bolt, but it allows you to have some early game interaction you wouldn't otherwise have. Beast Within's cool. I mean, Lingering Souls is something else I've run in the past in this deck. Some number of Lingering Souls, or main deck even Timely Reinforcements. Like I used to main deck the 3 Timely Reinforcements, because Burn was just such a horrendous matchup that I just wanted to have some main deck hedging. And it's not dead in other matchups. Like, you can use it in a lot of other matchups. If they're a creature deck, odds are, you know, I haven't cast any creatures, and you could main deck the Timelies. Some number of Timely. I don't know if you want to main deck the whole playset, or the whole... I wouldn't ever run a full playset of Timely. Lingering Souls is more main deckable, though. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the reasons why we're in the color combination. Lingering Souls is pretty solid. Now, you need to be careful that you don't turn off that aspect of the restore balance. Ways to do that, you know, you can, well, a really easy way is, so let's say we have the suspended Gargadon, right? You have the